Hi there, my name is Carolina Cerda, and today I'm going to be telling you about the endangered language Tsakonian. For my Humans and Language course, my group decided to choose this language that's spoken in Southeastern Greece. The reason why we chose this language was because we wanted to focus on a complex language that was found in Europe. Tsakonian is spoken in Greece, in the Peloponnese region that includes the towns Leonardino and Prostas. It is the last remaining descendant of Doric Greek. As of today, according to UNESCO, there are 200 to 300 speakers left, making it a critically endangered language. Tsakonian is a morbound. That means that whoever is part of the speaking population is either part of the grandparent or older. The very reason why not many people speak Tsakonian is because that language is isolated by mountains. Most people who speak Tsakonian are farmers, shepherds, and gardeners. The Tsakonian region has an eggplant that is special to it, and it is used in Tsakonian dishes. There is also a special cheese from Tsakonia that is made only from milk cream. The Pyrrhic dance is the only ancient Greek dance that has survived to this day. This dance represents Cyrus trying to escape the labyrinth. The labyrinth is represented by one dancer hooking their arms, something like this, to someone else's bent arm, back in the era of 12 gods. This dance was dedicated to Apollo as he won the battle with the snake. The Meletsas festival is a music celebration where bands play Greek music called rembetika. The music score that is shown is an example of traditional Tsakonian folk song. Now we're going to be talking about linguistic features of Tsakonian. So I don't speak Tsakonian, but here's the sentence translated into English. It says, "There was a villager in old days, and he wanted to go from one village to another." The syntax of Tsakonian is similar to English, as they're both subject-verb-object, or better known as SVO. The villager is the subject, and wanted is the verb that comes after, and the village is this object. Adjectives are found before the noun, such as old days. An example of morphology is when village is changed to villager. Similar to English, a suffix is added to change the meaning of a word. According to a brief grammar of the Tsakonian dialect, one phonological characteristic of Tsakonian is that the f sound is often dropped between vowels, while the v and z are added between vowels. A difference between Greek and Tsakonian is that the sh sound happens in Tsakonian, not in Greek. Revitalization efforts that have been done through microplanning. Microplanning is basically when the local government and people of the community come together to take action and try to preserve the language that they speak. In this case, for Tsakonian, a headmaster of a school, he picked up something that someone else had started before, but he's continuing it. He's wanting to create a digital lexicon or a dictionary in order to leave behind evidence that Tsakonian once did exist, if it ever does go extinct. So in this lexicon, he has 4,650 words in it. Most of the words are translated into Greek, and they do provide a pronunciation of each word. And also, he hasn't had much success in his revitalization efforts, but he is teaching his students, his 4th grader and 5th grader students, that Tsakonian needs to be learned, and also that they are learning it in order to add to the amount of speakers there are in the world. But he became concerned about Tsakonian when he became a teacher. So he usually teaches his students Tsakonian. He spends 2 hours per week teaching his 4th graders and 5th graders this language. Unfortunately, his efforts are not publicly funded, so the government isn't providing any aid for him. So this doesn't really do much for Tsakonian becoming revitalized. So in order for something to happen that revitalization could work, is that if macro planning is done. So macro planning is basically when like the country's government gets involved and they take action, and they basically set laws that make it possible for this language to become revitalized. So other ways that this can help, macro planning for the language to become alive and thriving again. Basically, laws would need to be created. People would need to follow the law that Tsakonian is the official language of Greece. Entertainment would need to be provided in Tsakonian, so that means like subtitles would need to be provided. Also, people such as actors or actresses would need to learn how to speak Tsakonian and make movies or TV shows in that language. Businesses would need to provide documents in Tsakonian. Schools would need to teach students how to speak Tsakonian. One thing that I thought of that could be helpful to revitalizing Tsakonian is if the government hires people from Tsakonia who speak Tsakonian, hire them and send them out into the world besides their being located just in Tsakonia, in the Tsakonian region, but sending them off into different parts of the world and having them teach other people how to speak Tsakonian. That way those people or outsiders are able to learn and understand this language, and this ends up resulting in people speaking Tsakonian. It means more speakers of it. However, the speakers of Tsakonian are elders, so it's not that easy for them to be able to move around and stuff. So those who are able to make it through the mountains and stuff, those would be the ones that would leave. And those who stay in the Tsakonian region would teach the younger generation, like children or teenagers, how to speak Tsakonian, and hopefully they become bilingual in Tsakonian and any other language that they speak there. Based on the information that we found, the possible consequences that could arise from this is that unfortunately Tsakonian probably will not exist within the next 25 or to 30 years, according to New York Times. The reason why I also agree with this is because Tsakonian is isolated in one region, and that region is all surrounded by mountains. That is unfortunate, of course, but also mostly the younger generation, they really don't care about learning this language, even though this language is their grandparents' language. And I believe that they should learn how to speak it in order to understand the past and the history of their culture, and also to be connected and have a self-identity with their people. As I mentioned before, I do agree with the idea of macro planning happening. So again, macro planning is when the country's government gets involved and takes action and enforces the idea of Tsakonian, in this case, becoming the official language of the country, thus enforcing and making people learn and speak Tsakonian. So, of course, macro planning would need to happen in order for this to be successful, which in this case, I have no idea if that would happen, but if it were to happen, then it would take years in order for it to be successful, because, of course, people are so used to speaking modern Greek, but this language, Tsakonian, is so isolated that it would be very difficult for elders to leave that area and teach others the language.